Hi, everyone. It's Nikolai here, Chief Operating Officer of the Financial Commission. I'm here today with you as I am every month to talk about our monthly complaints digest. Our monthly report was actually published earlier today on our website. So if you'd like to follow along, you can click on the link that's at the bottom of the YouTube video in the description. This month's report actually took some time. The beginning of November was a very, very busy time for us. And as I go through our monthly metrics, I think you'll understand why. Um, so our report, came out a few weeks later than usual. But as I do every month, we're going to go through our, most important metrics to kind of give you an idea of how our dispute resolution service has been doing month over month, and kind of give you some insights of what we're thinking is happening with investors, traders around the world, and global markets sort of demand for trading. So without further ado, our biggest metric or our most important metric that we look at every month is how many new complaints were filed with our organization. I'm happy to say that in October, there was 146 complaints that were registered with the Financial Commission. That's about 55% more than in September, which tells us really that trader activity and investor interest is returning to the markets. People are starting to trade again or trade more than they did over the summer. And let's say in a month like September, which if you go back and look at my video or read our monthly metrics from September, you'll see that that sort of summer slowdown continued this year, probably because of all of the disruptions and things like that from COVID or coronavirus around the world. But now, from September to October, we are seeing things pick up quite a bit. Um, and one of the things that we look at is new complaints filed. In terms of how many complaints were resolved last month, there was 132 complaints that were successfully resolved. That's about 31% higher than the amount of complaints that were resolved in September. Um, Interesting to note, the total amount that traders were requesting in their complaints that they filed in October, that number was actually a little bit less than September. So that number decreased by 2.7%. And in October, traders overall requested $615,887 in the complaints that they had filed. Now, obviously, some of that is complaints that are filed by traders who are trading with companies that are members of the Financial Commission. And then there's also complaints that are filed with the Financial Commission from traders that are trading with other companies or other brokerages that are not affiliated with us and are not using our external dispute resolution service. Now, this particular metric with respect to non-member traders, or however you want to call them, the amount of money that they requested last month in October was actually three times more than was requested in September. So in September, there was roughly about $34,000 requested, and in October, we see that that number significantly increased to 142,500, roughly somewhere around there. So what that tells us is, irrespective of the traders that are trading with companies that are members of the Financial Commission, those that are trading with companies that are not are experiencing, some kind of issues, some kind of complaints with their brokerages, and also, reaching out to us and trying to see if we can help them out and resolve their dispute as well. But more importantly, that tells me that traders are trading, and I think that's something that we've all been anxiously sort of waiting to hear. Now, that's the amount of money that was requested from traders or sought from traders in their complaints. Everybody always asks, well, how much money was actually paid out to traders in the disputes that were ruled in favor of customers? And I'm happy to report that that metric also improved from September to October by 31%. And in October, the Financial Commission ruled that or a little bit more than $83,000 should be paid out to customers whose disputes were resolved in October. In terms of a percentage, in terms of how much money was requested and how much was actually paid out, that number is about 17.5%, which is actually about 65% higher than in September. So in September, in terms of that ratio, we paid out about 10.5% of all monies that were actually requested by customers. Now, when we look at the total amount of complaints that we receive every month, we split those down into different categories. As you know, if you've seen our digest before, or seen my videos before, you know that we break them down into three categories, which are trading related complaints, financial related complaints, and non-trading complaints. So trading complaints, as you might as you might think, are complaints that are related to executing trades and executing orders on a trading platform, stop loss orders, limit orders, um, questions about the execution of a particular order or trade, and kind of what price did I get, and was it better or worse than perhaps was the average in the market at that particular time. These kind of questions are asked in trading related complaints. Now, financial related complaints naturally, have to do with depositing funds, withdrawing funds from a trading account. They could also deal with situations where a bonus was applied to a customer's account um, in a particular, bonus structure or promotion that a broker may be doing. And then there's non-trading complaints. Non-trading complaints are anything outside of trading and financial matters. So it could be questions about interpreting the customer agreement between a client and a brokerage, or other kind of trading specific materials or data that a customer is presented with, and really any other matter that a customer may have an issue with respect to working or trading with their brokerage. Now, if we take a look at that breakdown month over month, I can tell you that for the last few months, financial related complaints have taken the bulk of all complaints that have been filed every month. So in October, roughly 46% of all complaints were financial related. About 27% were trading related, and the same 27% was also attributed to non-trading complaints. Now, financial complaints are obviously important, but I think it's important to note specifically about trading complaints. They actually increased month over month from September to October by 20%. So about 36 complaints in October were related specifically to trading. Now, the rise in that proportion tells me again, like I said before, that traders and investors are back to trading, back to trying to find trading opportunities in the markets, and that's obviously a welcome sign for really everybody in our industry. Now, I spoke about how much money traders are requesting in complaints last month, how much was paid out. We also split complaints down by value category. So 0 to 100, 500, 100 to 100 to 500, etc. And again, as with previous months, the lowest value category, 0 to 100, maintains sort of its lead. So about 45.5% of all complaints in October were in this lowest category. But at the same time, roughly 20% were in the 1,000 to 10,000 category, and about 13% of all complaints last month were in the $10,000 and above category. So I guess we could interpret that as, the Financial Commission does deal with a lot of complaints that may not have a lot of monetary value, but it also deals every month with a significant amount that's actually a pretty hefty complaints in terms of how much money is at stake in terms of a dispute being resolved. And I think if you take a look at our metrics from earlier in the year, you'll also find that the higher value categories usually maintain about a 15 to 25 to 30% stake, sort of, or piece of the pie when we look at the different value categories. Now, a very important question obviously is, okay, Financial Commission resolves complaints every month. Well, how many are actually resolved in favor of the customer and how many are actually resolved in favor of the client? Obviously, probably one of the most important questions to ask and to answer. And I'm happy to report that in October, the amount of complaints or the percentage of complaints that were resolved in favor of customers actually grew by 91% from September to October. So in September, 22 complaints were resolved in favor of customers. In October, that metric jumped to 42 complaints. So we do see an increase there. Again, I can't necessarily attribute that to anything specific because every individual complaint is different from every client. But I think it's definitely something that's nice to mention with respect to how many complaints are being resolved in which favor. Now, with respect to how many complaints were resolved in favor of brokers, that number was 67 in October as compared to 48 in September. And from a percentage standpoint, about 52% of complaints or roughly a little bit more than half of all complaints in October were resolved in favor of brokerages instead of clients. Um, Besides this, again, I mentioned several important metrics, but I think one that we are judged on often the most is average dispute resolution time. So, in other words, how long does it take us on average every month to resolve one complaint? And you'll see in some of our previous reports that we've recently achieved historic records with respect to this number. Um, I believe if I remember correctly, we had somewhere near 6 days in terms of how quickly, on average, we were resolving complaints in the summer months. And I think that that was attributed to there being a slowdown in the summer months and us having a lot of operational capacity within the organization, so we were able to move quickly and resolve disputes quickly. Now that number has ticked up a little bit over the last few months, but particularly from September to October, the average dispute resolution time did improve. So it was less in October than it was in September by about 12%. And in October, the average dispute resolution time was 7.8 days. Again, roughly 8 days. A lot of people often wonder, how can you do this so quickly? And the answer to that is our dispute resolution committee, about 20 or a little bit over 20 different experts around the world that are professionals in their own specific niche within our Forex and CFD industry that help us out, that volunteer, and who quickly sort of communicate with us on a daily and weekly basis and analyze information, investigate disputes for us, and ultimately come to a reasonable, thoughtful and independent conclusion, and then hence a decision is made. So that's the way that we're able to very quickly and efficiently handle disputes and complaints from traders. And also, when comparing us to financial regulators around the world, you'll obviously notice that with certain government regulators around the world, this process takes a significantly longer time. So perhaps a matter of weeks, if not months. So definitely happy about the fact that our average dispute resolution times are improving and staying within the sort of general threshold that we expect them to be. The other thing to mention, I think, quite a notable difference month over month from September to October is the amount of money that was requested by traders who are trading with brokerages that are not members of the Financial Commission. So, besides getting complaints filed every month from traders who are trading with brokerages that you'll find in our members section of our website, there's quite a handful of complaints that come in from just traders from other companies or other parts of the world that might not find their brokerage in the list of members of our organization, but nonetheless reach out to us in the hope that we would be able to help. Um, and we do look at how many complaints are filed like this every month, and we do look at how much money these types of traders are requesting from us. And it's interesting to note that from September to October, the amount of monies that was sought or requested by such traders tripled. So about a 320% increase. So in September, such traders requested about $34,000 worth of money, and in October, we see that this metric is almost $432,500, which is a significant increase. I can't tie this specifically to any one sort of, kind of market condition and what's been kind of happening with trading volumes and trader activity. But what it does tell me broadly is that, like I said before, traders are back and investors are back in the markets. They're looking for new opportunities. They are trading. Specifically, we could say probably a lot of CFD contracts, contracts for difference, on gold, on other commodities, oil, and things like that. These are markets that have been moving quite well recently. And just last week, we saw that, or 2 weeks ago, we saw that there was a very, very high demand for equities, for stocks, and stock CFDs. So we do see, trading volumes picking up and trader activity picking up, and hence we're seeing these kind of metrics, when looking at the disputes that are coming into the Financial Commission. So definitely something to look at also in the coming months, in November and December, when those metrics will be analyzed and published to see if this trend continues. Um, but definitely, definitely a lot of activity picking up, for us as well. And we expect that the activity with us in terms of dispute resolution will continue to grow as we move closer, or as we move on to the end of 2020 and into 2021. And it just remains to be seen, kind of what will happen in the next few months. So I hope that today's video and digest, or complaints digest, was informative. Like I said, if you'd like to take a look at the printed report, you can do so by clicking the link at the bottom of the YouTube video here in the description. And I will see you next month in December, when we will be going over our November metrics. So with that, I wish everybody health and luck, and I will see you soon. Thank you.